We have people from 105 countries who care about ending sexual abuse and exploitation.
Human being is so much more than just a piece of circuitry and matter that functions as a whole.
As many of you already know, sexual abuse is deep, and my foundation was nearly destroyed. I was dying a little bit more every day, and no one noticed.
Common sense dictates that someone is being exploited if they have to decide between selling sex to a stranger or being able to pay rent or have a meal that day.
Cannot make the sex industry safe. There is no way to make it safe.
They're mostly people of color. A lot of them are also minors, unfortunately. A lot of them are elderly, not necessarily operating within the sex trade, but still part of a vulnerable group that is being exploited, and then also the LGBTQ community.
What do we do in this moment where our Black and brown children are still being subjected to trafficking, and those who are suffering economically being found prostituting their bodies? How do we respond in this moment?
So much trafficking isn't about, tying people and locking them up in dungeons and so forth. It's about subtler forms of coercion. And when we constantly use these tropes, we're reinforcing to people the idea that you're not a victim unless you've been chained up somewhere. And that's just false.
I mean, this whole grooming thing is way bigger than probably what we think it is. And I think we're just barely touching the surface of it.
Very few of us were, kidnapped at gunpoint and forced from day one. Most times it's the grooming, it's the lure, it's the relationship.
But all of us in this field know that you can't just say, well, here's a person and let's put him in a bed. There are layers and layers of consideration in order to find the right placement. Because ultimately it's not about the bed, it's about the program and what that program can offer that survivor to help move that individual towards independence.
In order to properly serve the African American girl who has been victimized through human trafficking. Take that closer look. I think what it's going to really do is going to reveal a beautiful spirit that has been shattered, that deserves to be recreated and deserves to be empowered as though she's worth gold.
Never give up. If you have a feeling that you should do something, just go out and do it.
Imagine if in some future, the top 10 books in the New York Times bestseller list were men coming to terms with sexism. If following the lead of the white people who are taking the lead of Black people and dealing with racism, if men would follow the lead of women and feminist women and women who are speaking out about sexual violence globally, instead of being defensive about it, they were like, how can I do this better? How can I learn from these women and from men and everything else?
Problematic porn use is, of course, hard on relationships. Many of my clients have left behind them a trail of broken relationships, even broken marriages. Yet, if both people want to give it another shot, if they want to grow together and heal together in this recovery process, then it is very possible for them to build a relationship that's stronger and more trusting and more intimate and more loving than ever before. I've seen that happen.
And so in the end, we need to start humanizing the women in the pornography industry. We need to see them as individuals with inherent dignity that do not deserve to be humiliated and degraded and violated.
Thank you for believing that we can end sexual abuse and exploitation. Thank you for joining together, for coming forward with an open mind, ready to learn, ready to collaborate, and ready to share.